Hey everybody, you're tuning in to Stacking Pennies, Coke 600 edition. It was a home race this weekend. We're going to honor and remember all the fallen soldiers who allowed us to continue to do our jobs each and every week. And we're going to talk a little racing with y'all. So buckle up. This is Stacking Pennies.
Stacking them deep, selling them cheap.
It tastes like gasoline, rubber, and victory.
We're just out here stacking pennies.
And we're in it. Welcome back to Stacking Pennies, guys. Corey LaJoie here alongside Ryan Flores. There is nothing more than we want to do after a long, hard day at work, getting in bed at 12:30 at night, and wake up on Memorial Day and come record Stacking Pennies. I say that sarcastically, but nonetheless, here we are. Real quick, shout out to Clay Milliken, NHRA champion. He saw me on the grid, and he's like, "Hey man, I listen to the show every week."
Heck yeah.
Yeah. So those are besides all the fans who continue to say they love the show, appreciate that. But when a fellow motorsports guy comes up and says he's got better things to do than listen to us ramble on about NASCAR, but he does anyways.
Awesome. Yeah, I got a lot of people this week up and down pit road. Hey man, listen to the podcast. We did a extra Dogs of the Week show with Justin White. That was really cool.
Big country.
Get off his truck. He's got his own t-shirts being made. I got one on the way. Pretty excited about it.
Yep.
But yeah, dude, crappy day for both of us.
Let's not get into that because let's start off with a little bit of cheery things.
Let's hear it.
Well, I love the Coke 600 week. It's a little bit of like an all-star break to the other sports with Wilkesboro being driving distance. We had 3 weeks in a row, Darlington, Wilkesboro, and Charlotte, where we get to sleep in our bed every night. Not often you get that. You do. You're the pit crew guy. You just wake up on Sunday morning and fly to the racetrack. But I'm out there in the trenches on a Friday afternoon. Nonetheless, here we are.
That's tough. I feel bad.
You should. We'll just get it.
There you go. Play the violin in your bus at the racetrack.
Dude, it was this week I could have had that just on a continuous roller. But a lot of fun things going on the week of the Coke 600. A lot of charity events. We had a couple concerts at Coyote Joe's. Joey Logano had his foundation there. I think Kyle Busch did as well, maybe Boatyard Eats. But Ryan Blaney had his first annual Pickle for a Purpose, I believe it was called. And you and I tried our hand at pickleball.
I'm not. I would see. Look, we both sucked at pickleball, but the edit made me look way worse than you.
So we mic'd up. This is after.
No, you're the only one that wore a mic for about 3 minutes.
Yeah, well then the sweat wore off the sticky.
So we get there. We've never played pickleball before,
ever,
and we choose to
actually
play
no, I lied. I bought a paddle about a week ago, and then me and Levi have been playing in my driveway. So that's
so you and your 4-year-old.
Yeah,
that's good. He probably would have beat us. We have never played, so we get there. We get a court with like an hour before the tournament. We are in the sun, the hottest part of the day, playing against the flag and anthem people.
Yeah,
getting striped, and we are completely dehydrated and totally wore out,
burnt out already.
We should have stayed in the shade.
Mistake number one.
Then our first draw.
Mistake number one was showing up. Mistake number two was warming up in direct sunlight.
Mistake number two is never playing before we go to this tournament. Then 3 was trying to figure out how to play an hour before in direct sunlight.
I just figured that both of our natural abilities would be able to overcome the discrepancy of our experience.
Turns out
I was wrong. But I was thinking about it.
Started off the week of sucking for both of us.
Yeah. The week went downhill from there.
It never went back uphill. We were just at the bottom of the valley all week.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
You know, we'll climb our way back up the top of Kilimanjaro next year. But I did think about this. The first game we played against Blaney, of course, and
Chip Weil.
Chip
Weil obviously lives in Daytona and goes to the retirement community and plays pickleball.
Very good. And he also played collegiate. Tennis. So he had the touch. You know, he's like smooth with it.
We did well against them though.
We did. I think we scored like 4 points.
No, we lost 7-15.
Okay, we were in the hunt. Well, we weren't in the hunt. Then we started like figuring it out, figuring out how to play, what you do, where you go, what not to hit. Blaney actually just spiked one off my chest. I didn't know you were supposed to move out of the way. it almost went through me. It was going so fast. Glad Sean didn't put that in the edit. I appreciate that. So they ended up
making it to the finals.
We also played against the team that won the whole thing.
Yeah,
the second
she's
time.
a collegiate. The girl was a collegiate.
And the other dude didn't sweat a drop all day.
He didn't have to do anything. She was a collegiate tennis player. She did all the work.
So we got smoked by both. We got smoked bad.
And they were 20.
Yeah. Yeah, we're old, man. We got kids and So that was a tough L on what was that, Tuesday?
So, yeah, we lost.
Tuesday?
And then the edit comes out, and Sean puts fart noise over me hitting the ball, make me look bad. You tell the people there that I suck. You left out the part that you suck, which is fine.
No, I'm not going to tell her. I'm not going to tell her why I suck.
Typical driver stuff, man.
Well, then
I won, we lost, you fix it.
That's right. That's right. That's how it goes. So then there was fan day. So all the fans are coming in town. They expect, every team has some fan days. We had ours, I believe, on Thursday.
Spire fan day looked electric, dude.
There's about a bunch of people there.
My favorite RC racing, those things, like every time you'd go to like a racetrack or like a trade show and those things, that RC track with the wheel was there.
Yeah. We had that last 2 years, and Levi LaJoie is undefeated. He's 2 for 2.
Let's go.
So we got the little Gamebridge 300 trophies. Actually, that was probably the highlight of the week. He had a blast. We were able to take the dub in that. And I was proud up there in Victory Lane. I don't get to stand in Victory Lane very often. I don't care if it's for RC race.
You had a lot of people there at fan day?
I don't know. Higgy stood in line like a real one. Him and Jameson came and got some autographs, said hello. There was probably... I went through a stack of 500 cars. Probably
Did
600-700
anybody
people
give
there.
you a penny?
I got a lot of pennies. That's why I had to get a bowl.
Nice.
We now have some new furniture, some new decoration on our table. If you're watching us on YouTube, I had to find a place to put all the pennies that you guys hand me at the racetrack. Now they're going in this bowl.
Nice. Perfect.
For a little decor. There's probably like $7 worth of pennies in there. I don't know.
Once we get it full, we'll go buy ourselves coffee.
Yes. Then there's fan day. That was fun. You guys had fan day over at Penske.
No,
do you have to do there?
I don't think we had fan day.
Oh.
Every day's fan day at Penske. You come over to the catwalk.
Yeah.
No, Ryan and they had a couple different appearances, but we didn't do anything.
A lot of body
They had
armor
fan
this
day
week.
at 2311 and the powder coat shop's down the road from 2311, and they were parking in the grass there at the powder coat shop, and it was busy. That place, now that it's finished, is sick, dude.
I read the Kelly Crandall article on Racer. She had behind the scenes tour, took pictures of everything. I'm like, it looks like a Google mixed with McLaren mixed with, I don't know, Frankie's Fun Park.
They said it cost double what they thought it was going to.
It always does.
Which is crazy because it makes me feel optimistic for the sport. This is on a different tangent, but it makes me feel optimistic for the sport because Denny's been the most vocal about charters and all that, but they're making this big investment into the sport, so they obviously see that
it's
going somewhere.
Yep. So on to the racetrack. Coke 600, one of my favorite things that we don't have anymore was pole night.
Thursday night pole night was sick.
Bojangles pole night, Charlotte Motor Speedway. I wish we can bring that back. That was a special night to see those cars whistle off into turn 1 at 205 miles an hour. Just the P&Q after Xfinity race on a Saturday afternoon just doesn't really get me going. But we had some pace right off the truck. I think we were 12th in practice. We built a little bit concerningly free.
In practice?
Yeah.
How many laps? Like 20?
So thinking back on it and talking with Sparks during our weather delay, we might have fooled ourselves because we came in like 3 times and heat cycled 3 times.
Okay.
And we were still loose at the end of practice. So when you heat cycle tires, you come in, right, you get them to peak temperature, you come on pit road, you make a change, well, the tires cool back down to ambient or close to. Then you go back out, and it changes how the tires perform.
Yeah, the rubber's getting harder, softer, softer, and oils are coming out of it. There's a lot that's going on there.
A lot going on there. So we ended practice, the front really not turning, and the back started to free up, but if you start a run from start to finish with no heat cycles, the car's going to react a lot different than what it does after 3 over the course of a tire. So I don't think I did the best job of leading our group with information there, and we qualified 21st. That was about all the commit that I had. I think that was about all the pace that she had. I didn't leave too much on the table.
Which isn't a bad qualifying run.
It's fair. And so you're looking at SMT, trying to make the right adjustments. You know that the track's going to go a big swing to the tight side over the course of the night, especially when the track cools down, take some shade. And we start the race, and I was chattering the right rear tire, busting my ass loose, and went backwards.
Yeah.
Was hanging on, couldn't turn the wheel, was spinning out, and just couldn't quite pick a place out that was nice enough to really loop it. So came in. Well, this first stop was a green flag stop, so we didn't get a chance to really turn a whole lot of bolts, make it to the first stage.
You short pitted really early.
Yeah, because
I was like, man, the cycle's starting.
It was lap 35
early, and I was like, that's probably too early.
Yeah, it was, but I was dying. Yeah, I was.
You were that free.
Yeah.
Think your right rear was coming apart?
I don't know. I mean, it was definitely pissed off.
Yeah, copy.
So we came in, we changed front rounds, pinned the front bar, did a bunch
under
of
green.
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, under the first
caution,
first stage. So we get there. I don't know. We're just like, please God, get this thing to where I'm not just white knuckling it, trying to get it around the track, and you're just hanging on. We weren't good enough to really race anybody. We were, 28, 30 seconds, somewhere in there. Just mad.
Yeah.
Mad, sad, frustrated, disappointed. Everybody we thought we had a decent car and just wasn't the right ticket.
So are you team more practice now? Are you getting to be there?
I don't know. I don't like the fact that you're married to what you bring to the racetrack.
Yeah.
You can't change a spring or nothing. We could have instantly landed on, okay, we have a couple 100 pounds to my right rear spring if this thing's building this loose, and you change the right rear spring, and the whole trajectory of your day is different.
Yeah.
So it's this arms race of simulator validity that a non-key partner team like ours is at a huge disadvantage, because you've got a GM tire, you got a Hendrick tire, you've got this tire, you got this aero map. You don't quite get the aero map that the key partners use, so we're going to give you a generic one, and then you put that one in, and you can't make a lap, so you have to guess essentially on what is the best thing for your car. So that's the disadvantages that we're under, and then you go to a place where Charlotte, where you're a lot of throttle time. And if you're a little bit off, if you're building one direction or the other, and you realize that in practice, there's really not a whole lot you can do. You can change your heights, you can change your sway bars, you can do a couple things, but the four springs and the geometry you bring to the racetrack, you're married to.
Yeah.
Which I don't love that. And if I were to go, if I can't say I'm team practice, because or team longer practice, because if you give the 4-car teams or the teams with a really deep bench of engineering, they'll collect their data and they'll make all of their cars better. So inevitably, just by depth, we get leapfrogged by guys that we might unload better than, generally speaking.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know what's right, wrong, or indifferent.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, you can change that stuff. You just have to go to the back, and you have no idea.
No, you can't change the spring.
You can't change it and go to the back at all?
No.
It's nothing. What if your spring is broken?
It has to be visibly damaged.
Really?
Yeah.
So you can't just do unapproved adjustments?
No.
I didn't know that.
No.
Huh.
If you know that you got 1,000 pounds too much right rear spring, sorry for your bad luck.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
You only have to hang on to this thing the next 5 hours.
Everybody would just be going to the back then, I guess, if you could change it.
Right.
Huh.
Speaking of going to the back, 17 blue left rear tire in practice gave me a little bit of PTSD from the first year there when we chunked 2. And those guys, did you see the social media clip that they put up? Just like the timeline of.
I talked to one of their guys when we were getting food yesterday, and he said that. I was like, "How did you guys go back to the shop?" He's like, "Oh yeah,
all-nighter."
When did you leave? He's like, "I left at midnight and went back at 5 a.m, but some guys stayed all night."
Yeah, it was on the setup plate. The backup car was on the setup plate at like 2, It's a pretty cool post. They'll legitimately take you from loading the car up in the trailer at 7 o'clock at night, and then just aerial shots of it getting wrapped, it getting set up on the plate, then bringing it to the dyno at 3 o'clock in the morning, and then showing up to the racetrack at noon, ready to rock.
Yeah, that's some real racing stuff.
That is. So kudos to the 17 guys. I'm sure those guys are probably taking a nap today.
Yeah.
They earned a nap.
You used to have to do that quite a bit. Like even if you're racing, say, at Kansas, right? I remember if you would wreck on Friday in practice, you would be at the shop getting a car ready, putting it in a 40-foot trailer and sending it up there. Or just a little trailer because you could wreck again on Saturday in practice because there was so much more track time and all the cars were so specific.
Right.
You know, that you couldn't just take like when I was with Stuart Haas, right? We couldn't just take the 39's car. It was the 14. It was everything was built specific, so you couldn't just go in there and take it. But
join Todd Gordon and myself each week for NASCAR Inside the Race. We'll break down exactly how the race was won.
Plus, we'll dive into the data and go in depth on race strategies, penalties, and rule changes.
Catch NASCAR Inside the Race presented by Consumer Cellular each Tuesday on NASCAR's YouTube channel.
On to the race.
yeah.
So I talked a little bit about how we fired off. How was 12 going?
It was good. We were going good. We gained a couple. We started 16th, 17th. We went forward. I think we were running. We got a couple here, got a couple there. We were running 6th to 8th, and green flag stop had a right front. So I pulled the right front. When I pulled it, it just doinked off the nose and kind of hooked the right. And I tightened the right front, but I was kind of watching where that was going. And we didn't get the right front all the way tight. It just got like a wheel dong. I stayed on it extra long, but the gun started chugging, and since I wasn't really looking at the socket, I just stayed on there like I knew it like extra, so I knew it'd be tight. But the socket started laboring, and I was kind of watching the right front, and the wheel had a loose wheel come off and hit the fence, so that's a tough one. I've never had I've never had anything like that happen in my career, but if you do this long enough, eventually it's going to
something bad's gonna happen.
Well, you're just your number gets called, especially with this one lug nut stuff. Like you had loose wheels. I think I had 2 or 3 loose wheels in my 5 lug nut tire changing career. But
how hot's that tire when you're pulling it off right there?
I don't know. At that point, you're like, oh boy.
Yeah, just rip my hands off. Why don't you?
Yeah, just
just hit me.
Kill me now.
Yeah.
Well, then you look in there and the uppers destroyed, and you're like, I just took this car out of the race. Like, you know, like we just took the car out of the race. It's like, damn it. Yeah, it was like I've never. That's
so
the
what's
worst.
the like? That's the worst. That's the worst possible thing that could happen.
Yeah.
So
1000%.
Like, are you mad, sad, pissed off?
It was just more
like tail between your legs a little bit.
Yeah,
I
you
feel
just
like that
you think that everybody's watching you. Like when you're tearing the pit box down and you're walking and you see people, you know, you're like, oh, they know. And nobody cares. They're like, yeah, whatever. Nobody outside of your team, I would say, like, nobody really knows what's going on, but you just feel like
this tall.
Yeah, like the size of an ant. And it's just, you're just more like dejected. But it's part, like, this job's hard.
That stuff never happens too when you're running like 27th. It only happens when you're running 3rd or wherever you were running at the time. Yeah,
we were running 6th or 8th. We were we were good. It was just gonna be a typical 600. It's kind of like the 600 falls into our team's wheelhouse because we're like a blue collar team, just fight all day, put yourself there at the end. And that's what we've been doing. So yeah, we haven't had a real big time like pit crew whoa in a while, and that's a big one.
That was a whoa.
The tough part is like, okay, so that happens, and we've seen it happen with multiple like really great teams, and then you just see a snowball of them losing confidence and it being a rough couple weeks.
Yeah.
So the challenge is to go back to practice and you go, okay, like you don't place blame, you don't look here or there, you just look, okay, what happened? Why did it happen? What started it? You digest it, take a bite of the crap sandwich, swallow it down, and you move on. Like that's
put a little ketchup on.
And you go. You just have to have a great week of practice, and you go and you get back in the groove. The first stop at Worldwide Technology Speedway. So that's the worst part is like after that, after
how long
bad stop.
Yeah, how long does that like live with you? Till like Wednesday?
That?
6 months?
I don't know. The rest of your
6
life.
hours? Yeah.
Like that's one that you'll be like, that's one that like you'll be at the end of your career like, what was your most like? Hey, 3 questions.
Yeah. What was
What's
your favorite?
most embarrassing moment? I got it. When the wheel fell off the Coke 600 and took us out of the race.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mark that one down. That's definitely.
And then you had to go the next day and talk about it.
Well, I mean,
on
that's
a podcast.
But that's like, dude.
That's
part of the gig. I mean, there's times when you have to be a pro, and this is one of those situations where you're like, okay, what happened? Why did it happen? Now I got to go talk about it. But like that's why we do the show, to pull the curtain back and be like, hey, this is why this happened. Inevitably, your number is going to be called.
You call? I didn't know that.
I called you and you text me back. And
I just got in bed. It was 12:15. You called me, and I'm like, I am, buddy.
There's nothing to talk about. You said there's no.
No. You call me, and I hit the FU button.
You said there's nothing to talk about.
There's nothing. You have no idea.
You have no idea, my man. And you're like,
and I was like, what happened? The wheel fell off.
Yeah, the wheel fell off. We wrecked the car. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I spun out.
We ran dead last all night.
Yeah,
at least I didn't try to kill my driver. Sweet.
But that's where, but that's like the reason that we do the show is to pull the curtain back, good, bad, or indifferent. This is what happened. This is why it happened. This is what goes into being at the highest level of sport.
Yeah.
And like, look, I get the tweets. Oh, pit road. Whoa. Oh, and like Blaney protected me in his interview. He's like, yeah, we got a flat. You know, like he just like the Goodyear guy came to pit box. He's like, what happened to the tire? I'm like, it fell off, guy. He's like, I'm just making sure the tire didn't fail. I'm like, he asked me like 4 times. I'm like, read the room.
Look at my
Leave
face.
me alone.
I have punched myself in the face for the last 10 minutes.
But
maybe he felt bad for beating us in pickleball, so he was trying to give you.
No, I'm on his team. We're on the same team. Like I'm not gonna ever dog him ever.
Yeah.
You know, like that's what good is that? Like I had to face them after the race. I get back to the truck and him and Hassler.
Obviously, he didn't spike that pickleball off your chest. He spiked the ball off mine.
Yeah, but it's just like nobody knows. It's like the man in the arena, right? Nobody knows worse than I do. Nobody feels worse than me. But you know, it's like you gotta. Okay, that was terrible. Now what do you want to do? You want to run and hide? Can't do that.
Nope.
You gotta live it. You gotta wear it.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta go in there on Tuesday to practice and be better than you were last week and be more aggressive than you were last week. You just gotta keep the progression. Like the number one thing you want to do is like go. Okay, be easy. Yeah. You can't do that. At this level, you can't do that. You got to get back on the horse and
whip that thing.
Ride that thing as hard as you did last time. So that's what we'll do. We'll go to Worldwide Technology Speedway. We've had a chance to win the last 2 races there, and that's a place that I really want to win. I think it's a cool track.
That is a cool track.
Tight pit road, but
they made it a little wider actually.
Did they make
the guardrail out? So they made it about 3 foot wider.
Thank God, because it was sketchy last year. We were down in like pit stall 38 down that way.
So moving on from that, and the unfortunate result, the 12 Ford Mustang this weekend, I'm ashamed to say that there must be magnets to the 7 car and the 84 car because I unfortunately hit complete.
He's over you, dude.
He's over me. I was going to ask him to be on the podcast after this incident here on Sunday. I'm not even going to go ask him. Get a bit of a run. We're both running like way worse than what we all want to. I think Jimmy's won 15 times at Charlotte. Get a little run here, get on the inside of him. I thought I was getting him a lane, but I didn't.
Hard to tell.
I thought I gave him plenty of space, but I crowded him there into one.
Yeah, it's tough. You know, the last person you want to run into is him. But
again, I keep saying that, and I keep doing it.
And
that's a bad spot to hit somebody. You're only going 200 miles an hour there. So I just knocked wheels with him. I ended up, I think we were racing. We both weren't very good. He ended up finishing a couple spots in front of me, but I just waved dude, I am so sorry. So sorry. For 3 laps, I'm out oh, don't please wreck me when you get to me. So that sucked. So there was that.
I heard about this 24 car passing the grass.
Hang on. Let's get to my spin first, and then we can talk about the good stuff.
Okay.
Let's get all the bad stuff.
I thought we were skipping the spin.
No.
Okay,
because
let's watch
because as I'm in there and I'm like, why are we this slow? Am I being a pansy into the corner? Do I no? Because I feel like if I drive in any deeper, I'm gonna spin out. But you know what? Let's just see if this thing can take any more entry speed. Oh no, it can actually. It's gonna spin out like I thought it was going to.
Well, the team watches SMT too. So did they tell you?
Oh, they're comparing. Oh yeah, this guy's getting 15 feet more into the corner. Okay, I feel like if I go 15 more feet into the corner, I'm gonna spin out.
Well, but it's a tool, right? Like everybody does that, where they're like, "Hey, we're watching SMT. This is where you're getting beat." And it, when you're watching it kind of on a video game like that, it makes sense that you just got to drive in a little deeper. But when you're sitting in the seat, you're like, I can't.
No, the right rear can't
take that.
And it couldn't. So I'm glad I'm glad I was able to keep it out of the fence. Right here, you can't see anything because I thought I was going to spin back into the fence. I didn't know where I was because there was so much smoke. Tried to get it refired, but we had a flat right front.
Did you have flat
went
right
down a lap, continued to fight, and after it was all said and done, all the way up until the halfway break, we got back on the lead lap. I felt like we should have been 10 laps down.
How many laps down were you? Oh, that didn't give you a chance.
Nope.
It was a bad spot in the corner, too, where you were. You couldn't even chase it because you would have ended up in the fence.
Oh, I would have stuffed it if I chased it. I was chasing it, but it just came around. It's so discouraging for what we thought we had and how hard we spent more time in the simulator this week than we had for the last several. Then you go from running well at Darlington, top 15 car, and then you go any given week, you can be top 15 or you can be 32nd.
Yeah, it's tough.
So we freaking missed it. We got to get back to work. I don't know why we don't have pace, but
on to the good stuff.
On to the.
I heard this 24 passing the grass is sweet. I'm ready to watch it.
Dude, it's so sick. I'm gonna call it the surf and the turf.
So he goes up top. He gets a big run.
It's not the passing the grass. It's the surf and the turf.
Oh.
The two monster cars racing for the lead, but watch out, William Byron coming to the lead. Here we go.
Wow,
dude.
That is.
People still talk about the pass in the grass. It wasn't a pass, guys.
It wasn't a pass.
Play the tape. Bill Elliott got him a little bit loose, slid through the grass, collected it. It was more of the save in the grass.
So that red is all turf. That's the first. It almost looks like it's just painted, but it's all
turf. It's like AstroTurf.
Yes.
William Byron, that was incredible.
Billy Beard,
the surf and the turf. So.
How many times have we seen this?
Runs are hard enough to get. It doesn't matter if you go on the apron, in the turf, up in the grandstands. If you got room, you're going to use it. And William Byron to the lead.
How many times have we seen it where the first two cars are racing each other, holding each other down, and the third car just gets a big run like that and
clears them all?
Yep, takes advantage of both of them.
That was from what highlights I saw, probably the most exciting part of the race.
Yeah,
everybody I think was waiting impatiently for the arrival of Kyle Larson, who Mother Nature was just not a NASCAR fan or a Kyle Larson fan this weekend.
Or an Indy start time fan.
No, she really boned us this week. We had it keyed up for one of the greatest days in motorsports history. Wake up, watch Monaco. Charles Leclerc won at his home track in Monaco. All is great in the world. Let's go watch Kyle Larson. Wrong. Rain. Push back. Gonna miss start the 600. Did a pretty good job. How do you speed on pit row with the speed limiter though? That's what I want to know.
I guess trying to get too much on.
Can you maybe on entry?
On trying to get too much on the entry. Maybe you speed it. You don't get it to pit road speed limit at the time. I don't know. I didn't watch it. I was like, that's what I was wondering too. Like, how do you do that? Like, that's the number one thing that you don't want to do. And I could tell he was pretty dejected.
Yeah.
But dude, nobody gets to pit road as aggressively as Kyle Larson in the Cup Series. I'm sure that I'm sure that the Indy 500 is a lot of the same of like you got to maximize everything to get track position. You got to get a little bit here, a little bit there. But dude, Joseph Newgarden was so fast.
Bro, that move at the end was ballsy.
Yeah.
That was some Captain America stuff.
Yes, I hear that. So back to Larson, though, he finishes the Indy 500, gets on a plane. There's like a flight tracker. He gets he like chases. It's the same storm from Indy
Yeah.
to Charlotte. He flies through it, gets to Charlotte, and Allgaier's coming down pit road to the final pit stop here before the rain.
Shout out Allgaier. I saw him in the drivers meeting in a Kyle Larson fire suit, and I said, "Hey, is that Kyle Larson?" He goes, "I'm the budget Kyle Larson, more of the fluffy Kyle Larson," because he was. I would say Justin Allgaier, similar height, probably 25 pounds heavier than Kyle Larson, so he was given that K1 fire suit all it wanted.
Kyle Larson is slim.
He's very slender.
Let's hear what they had to say when he was coming down.
Keep coming 5 away around this 8. Turn in. 4 tires going on the jack.
As we listen to Cliff, let's give Cliff a big round of applause.
Go.
Taking Justin Allgaier.
It's your mark here. You got him.
First race in next gen.
To be honest with you, I was looking for a 7 sign right there, not a 5.
Oh.
So I came in a little bit weird, but I was looking for the wrong number.
Yeah.
All good.
Damn, that's the last stop where he said that too. It's
Honest mistake. Easy to do. I mean, you're just used to seeing that 7 every single week on a Saturday afternoon.
yeah. Well, it would have been bad if he stopped in your pit stall.
I
Hey
know.
man, I need that.
Get out of here. Well, I was coming down the second time by pretty much all day, so it didn't matter.
It could have been like the F1 teams where they pit it and then they
The
come
double
right
stop
in.
it. I think. Well, no, my guys are on the 1 generally, but yeah, I thought Justin did a great job in that thing.
He did. He was close to going a lap down the first run.
He was in the hornet's nest at one point in time. I was right behind him. People were just using him up.
Yeah, and he's figuring, dude, those cars drive. I mean, SVG sat right here and told us how much different they drive. How did Shane do yesterday?
He did okay. He sped every single time he came down pit road.
Wonder if they didn't have the lights.
I don't know.
Set right. Or,
Way different with running the lights, but if he gets that figured out, he could probably run in the top 15. The Collie cars were pretty good. I think Hemrick ran 18th. SVG was able to pass some cars. I think he did a good job. He said, talking to him before the race, he said that the next gen cars drive more like what he's used to, or more like what he anticipates with just the tire grip and no compliance with the suspension, where he said he doesn't know if he's loose or if it's the car moving or if it's a sidewall moving on the Xfinity cars. So I would say they're going to try to get him on in a Sunday car more often here for next year.
yeah, that'd be good.
I did see, back to Larson, we're going back and forth a little bit, but our great NASCAR hope, Kyle Larson, I feel like he was beating himself up a little bit.
Well, you got to look at it from his perspective, right? He has a documentary crew following him around for 8 months, right? They're doing all this stuff. They're going to make all this cool content. He's got so many people involved.
Yep.
And then it just rains.
Yeah.
And it's, it rains and he speeds.
Yeah.
So he probably would have run easily inside the front half of the top 10. Speeds, finishes in, 20th, somewhere back there. And he feels like not only is he dejected because the weather, but he's also mad at himself. So it's just piling it on.
Should we read the statement? Is it worth reading?
If you want to read the whole thing.
I'll breeze through it here. What I thought could be this is a quote from Kyle Larson on X. What I thought could be one of the best days of my life quickly turned into one of the most disappointing ones I've ever experienced. I hated for Rick Hendrick, Jeff Gordon, HAG, that would be Hendrick Auto Group, Hendrick Motorsports, and everyone a part of the 5 team, everyone on the 17 IndyCar for speeding. My family, my friends, my fans, and documentary crew that's been following along the journey for the past 8 months. So much time, money, and effort has went into the experience, and it just kills me to have it all end the way it did. I feel like I let so many people down. I don't feel like you let anybody down, Kyle Larson. Back to the quote. We knew all along, weather could throw a wrench into things, but seeing it come to reality is a horrible feeling. Up until Sunday, it was truly one of the greatest experiences of my life. I can't describe how appreciative I am of everybody who supports me to live out a dream. I hope it's not the last opportunity I have to try the double, but if it is, I guess it was memorable. Thank you to everyone at Aero McLaren, Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and all the competitors there for making me feel welcomed. Ready to get back on track now and get refocused on winning a second championship for our team.
I thought they already announced that he's racing next year.
I thought so too.
So
yeah, it's a 2-year deal.
So yeah, I wonder, but life happens. So maybe that's what he's talking about. But dude, there's nobody more down to earth and just a dude than Kyle Larson.
He's a dude.
He's a racer.
Yeah, and
there's a lot of hype around him, and he almost feels like larger than life with the stuff he's doing, but he's not. He's just he's a guy, and
a damn good race car driver,
one of the best. And he got a lot of eyes on the sport, a lot of eyes on the both Indy and Charlotte, and it's a bummer that it worked out the way it is. But you can't control the weather. But I can see that you know the deal. If you invite a bunch of people over to your house for a party, and the catering never shows up, you feel bad. It's not your fault, but
that's happened. Our birthday with Peach Truck didn't show up.
but like
it broke down on the side of 77.
Yeah, but that's the same thing for him.
Yeah.
Like, he's got everybody around him. There's so much pressure.
Yeah.
And it's just like it all comes unraveling, and it's not your fault, but you feel like it is.
Yeah, you feel like it is. It's not your fault, Kyle Larson. You did great.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't, and like when he's
man, it's just every decision, every mistake at that, especially when you're racing for Indy 500, Coke 600, and any week. That's why I think that's why we try to talk about and touch on how hard it is to win, because you have to be perfect.
Yeah,
you can't
be
speed.
Perfect.
You can't. I think he also, I say miss a gear, but he spun his tires or something on a restart. I didn't get to see many of it because we were doing pre-race stuff, getting ready to go, but heard he lost a couple spots on a restart, something like that.
Kyle Larson's really good. Those guys in IndyCar are really good too. Some of the stuff Joseph Newgarden did yesterday was special, and the team.
And also, Pato with that save that looked like he was driving a sprint car.
Oh yeah,
unbelievable.
I've never seen an IndyCar react like that. I don't watch a ton of Indy, but I've never seen an in-car where he got free. And then he saved it, and then off the corner he spun the tires and just chased it. It almost looked like a stock car.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it was impressive. And then at the end of the day, the 20 car wins, goes to victory lane. The rain that came at Charlotte didn't rain long, but it rained hard.
It did.
I was really confused at why they called it that.
I think a lot of people that stuck it out in the grandstands, and everybody on pit road. You were probably already home by then.
No, I had to wait. So when we wreck like that, I got to wait till 50 to go because we don't have any backups.
Oh.
So I got to be ready to go in case somebody on the 22 or the 2 or 21 gets hurt.
Yeah, so it downpoured for, I don't know, 45 minutes, an hour. But the cell looked like, and it did. It moved right over probably, I don't know, 10:45, 10:30, 10:45. They got the jet dryers out, and a little bit of confusion because the track looked like it was drying up. Fans are coming back, trickling in the grandstands, and all of a sudden they start setting victory lane up, start taking pictures. And they just, even Chris Bell said he was sitting in his bus watching the Radioactive on FS1, and all of a sudden Mike Joy, Kevin Harvick, and Clint Boyer come on, and he's like, what's going on? Because he said he was mentally prepared to go back racing and try to, finish
everybody
the
was.
race. Yeah. Because we're everybody's walking back to pit road, about to take the covers off the cars. Let's get this thing back going.
Drying all their stuff.
And we're done.
Yeah, that was weird. I don't know. I didn't look at the racetrack ever. I didn't see many jet dryers out there. I saw a lot of Air Titans.
I think I wish that we would have got back going because I felt like our car was set up for wet. I feel like it would have been set up for the moist if we were able to, if guys that were really fast on a dry track, if it was like a little bit wet and moist, I think we would have been able to at least maintain. But I think if the sun would have came back up in the morning, I think that's when our car would have really came to life.
Yeah, the one that I think, the one race where I think you stick it out until 3 o'clock in the morning is the Coke 600, right?
Because
it's 600 miles of memorial. So
not 373.
But at the end of the day, right? There's a lot that goes into putting on these races, and there's a lot of layers to it, and there's a lot of layers that I don't even understand, even being at the racetrack. So listen, if the track wasn't going to get dry and they deemed it wasn't going to be safe and we were wasting everybody's time, then call it.
We can sit here and argue about it, but it don't matter.
Don't matter.
We'll talk about it on Monday. It's done. DUN done. Chris Bell got the dub, second one of the year, 8th of his career. What else is there?
I had a bunch of woes. I had the biggest woe of my life, so let's go to pit road boats and woes.
Right after this. Let's hear about it.
I'm Ryan Flores. Join Kim Kuhn and myself each and every week at Around the Track.
We'll get you ready for the upcoming race weekends from short tracks to the Cup Series, whether you'll be attending in person or watching from home.
Coming your way each week is the best bets to win some easy money and driver suggestions to help pump up your fantasy lineups. Around the Track also tells you what to watch for in the NASCAR Regional Series and which young phenom drivers to keep your eye on.
Plus, our At Traction segment gives you all of the fan activities, concerts, and tailgating fun at the track. Be sure to check out Around the Track each and every Wednesday on NASCAR's YouTube channel.
Welcome back. Time for some pit road boats and woes. Several woes, like we hinted at and talked about earlier in the show. The woe of your life. Is it worth talking about that anymore, or what do you think?
I mean, we can beat this dead horse all
Let's
you want.
beat
Let's
it.
just beat it.
Do it.
We're going to have to talk about it all week.
Yes. Might as well get it out now.
Yeah. It's a big part of the job. Like, that's a failing fast is as much of a part of the job as winning, right? And learning how, like, that's why you can't get too high on the highs, too low on the lows. It's just part of it. I was talking to Travis Geisler, our competition director, last night, and he's like, "What do you think?" I said, "Watch this," and this was kind of how we got to that point. And you know, like, we talked through it, and I was like, this stuff ain't for sissies. That's it. Like, this job, it's a hard job, and it ain't for. You got to get back on the horse and keep going. So that's what this is kind of. These are the days when you figure out if you're a pro or not, right? Everybody can do it when it's all sunshine and
rainbow,
blue skies.
Yeah.
When that storm rolls in, you can be able to weather it or not. And that's
my engineer said it best last night during the rain delay. We're sitting there, all of us are just like scratching our heads as to why we suck so bad. And he goes, this is actually just why I stay sad all the time. If you stay happy in our sport, you will just be continually knocked down. But if you stay sad all the time, you are never getting any lower. And that's how I survive. I said, that you put that great. That's how I live my life.
Everybody has their own defense mechanisms. You know? I'm not that way. I don't stay sad all the time. I stay
one notch above sad.
That's not. I mean, that's not. I don't know that that's great for longevity. I just focus on stacking pennies. And when you get
me too.
And even when your stack gets knocked over like mine did this week, you just start back
one at a time.
Okay. All right. How are we gonna get through this one? And now this.
Yeah.
Right? And like, dude, inevitably. Used to have a teammate, Shannon Myers. He was an old school tire changer. He'd say, "You do this long enough, that'll happen."
He ain't wrong.
And it's like, that's like, hey, okay, my number got called this week. You ever seen Fury?
Yeah, best job ever
They didn't call our number today, boys.
Yeah, that's right.
Hey, inevitably your number get called, and that's all I do. I go, best job I ever had.
I mean, if Fury's, it doesn't matter if I'm in the middle of something. If Fury's on the TV, I'm gonna sit there and watch it. One of my all-time favorite movies.
That's a great movie for Memorial Day. Best job I ever had.
Best job I ever had.
So let's look at some other woes. I saw the 11 and the 17. I saw Roush tweeted a picture of the 17 guys talking to Denny Hamlin during the rain delay, and it said a gentlemanly conversation. So I was wondering what was going on, and it looks like we have some video. They had.
Charlotte is one of the worst.
Charlotte pit stalls are small.
Very small. So what you have is the 11 running up front all night, 17 going to backup cars, several spots behind him, and then the 42 who is pitted in front of the 17 is several spots behind him. So it's the exact opposite of how you would draw it up onto end of the box, because each car in front has to tail out because they're driving around the car. And mind you,
done, we're going to fight. You understand? I've done all I can do. That's what I'm going to do next time.
Game part, big man.
17, park in your box. I will stop on your bumper.
Oh, big man. Yeah, I mean, they lost spots every time, it seemed like, on pit road.
I don't know what it means to stop on your bumper.
Did he say stomp or stop?
I don't know. So the only thing that...
Hang on. I got a question, because I've never... You don't see it very often. How bad etiquette is it if he's that mad of knocking the 17 off on the jack if he drives out of the box?
It's not going to do anything good for anybody, because he's like, you're not going to, if he knocks someone off the jack, he's just going to wreck his own car.
Yeah.
It's going to detach the bumper from the splitter and probably squish the snorkel. And
Yeah.
So, I mean...
There's not much you can do besides...
The only thing that you can do is qualify better and pick an opening out. He had an opening in. So I wonder... And it's hard to tell from the in-car. I wonder if he can control everything he can control. Because you can honestly park with your tires on the back line.
Yeah.
Like inside the back line and be able to pit the car. So if you're 3 foot forward, right, the 17 has to do what they have to do for their race.
That's right.
Right? And the 42's coming around the 17. So the 17 has to angle in.
Yep.
And then stop short. So he's even got more of a swing to get out. So he's got to protect himself. So
and also there was a big, that we had all drivers meet with NASCAR, and there was a big topic of protecting crew members. And they were going to start policing that drive-through line more. So.
I hope they do, because it's
some
not
fella
something
got his toes rolled over.
It's not something that's policed very, very like.
Yeah.
I think it's hard to police, but it is something that, like, unless you get hit. So if you hit me, then it's policed. But it goes further than that, because like if I run out there and like the 4-car ran us a little tight this weekend. They weren't the car right in front of us, but it was like, whoa, okay, like that affects my job, because then I inevitably have to get, if the car's coming at me, I have to get closer to my car, which the spacing puts me in a bad spot, and now I'm going to have a bad stop. So it affected our race. Yeah, I'm with you. But that's where it's more like that. The lines are there for a reason.
Yeah. And
I have seen it's a little bit muddy still about like how many stalls you drive through and where that all comes into play.
It's 2.
It's 2,
unless there's somebody in that second box.
But like, yeah, it's 2. But if you're running out, it's 2. But if I'm running out to the car and you're coming around me and you pinch us off, like, is that really called? It's still not totally clear. One thing that was clear though is that
I've got a point.
Let's hear it. I've
been saying this for a couple years now, and nobody really pays attention when I talk. Surprisingly, we all pit roads have 43 to 44 boxes worth of real estate, even painted. So most of the time we only have 38, 40 cars. Why don't we add whatever it is, the extra 2 feet of length, and restripe boxes everywhere we go?
Everywhere? I don't know. That's a great point. Because what they do in most places is they just cut out some boxes.
Right.
So they just become dead. But yeah, Charlotte is notoriously one of the worst with being short, small pit boxes. The next gen car has created more cars on the lead lap, so it's more of an issue now than it's ever been.
I finished 35th and was on the lead lap.
Yeah, during the Coke 600, once you get to the, say, third stage.
Yeah.
Once you get past halfway, there's 18 cars on the lead lap.
Yeah.
And then you're spaced out pretty well.
Yeah.
Not anymore. That's not the case. So qualifying is so important to get a good pit stall. Ty Gibbs, the 54, they must have called a late 2-tire call. Now, Braxton Brandon is the jackman on the 54. He's one of the most veteran guys, 2-time champion of the sport. He has been around for a long time. So for him to not know his 2-tire stops, if you watch it closely one more time, Braxton leaves to run around the front. And Jackson, the front changer, Jackson Gibbs, he's going to the left front.
Yeah.
So
okay, there goes the car.
The rear changer was going to the left rear. So it was just a little bit of a breakdown in communication. What I like to see there is that everybody on the 54 is treating it like it's a 4-tire stop. So all the pit crew guys are doing the same thing. So it's not just one guy that's on the wrong page. They're all on the same page. And the car left, and it was no worse for wear. But yeah, that's always a tough situation. We've seen that happen quite a bit.
Yeah.
I saw this happen
on
live.
Friday night as well in the truck race.
Yeah, so I see this happen live. If we run it here, see, a little bit of this is on Corey. They haven't dropped the jack. Oh. He's putting a nut on. Corey drives off the jack here. He just left. He just left, and the rear changer waves him out.
Go.
If he would have taken the 5 seconds more to tighten it, they wouldn't have gotten disqualified. So I wonder if he had one off on the right rear, one off on the left rear, and there was one off on the front, because three lug nuts off, man, that's a disqualification. That's a big deal. Imagine if they would have won. and gotten that penalty, that would have been terrible.
Yeah.
He
drops the clutch up on the jack. A lot of that's on the driver. You can't leave on the jack.
He said, "You're done."
Yeah. Your time to put this tire on is over with.
That is scary. That'll rip your fingers off.
Yeah,
I've seen it rip people's fingers off, mess their hands up. That is the tough part about that is that, yes, the studs and the nuts, but the valve stem is stainless.
Yeah.
So when the valve stem spins, there's 2 of them, and if it catches your finger, dude,
it's gone.
Goodbye. Goodbye.
That'd be a woe.
That's it. Oh,
and that's
hey,
it for
dogs
the
of the week.
Who are the dogs of the week?
Dude,
we're going to go.
First time ever, we're going to the IndyCar side.
What does an IndyCar pit crew have to do to earn dogs of the week? Win it?
First off, win the pit crew challenge.
Okay.
They won the pit crew challenge with the fastest time ever. They won the Indy 500, and they were P1 on the day for pit stops for Indy 500. But when we look at this and we look at the names, I just want to shout out all the names of the guys on this team. Chad Gordon, outside front. Kyle Larson, inside rear. DJ Rupert's the fueler. Tom Jones on the air jack. Andy Greer's the tear-off guy. Keenan Watson outside rear. He's won like 5 pit crew challenges now. I train with all these guys, but the one that I wanted to really shout out is Caitlin Brown, the inside fronts. If you look at the overhead from the pit crew competition, the last stop, she is done first.
Yeah.
Out of everybody, and they said out of everybody, not only on their car but on McLaren's car as well. Caitlin Brown is a dog for sure. She's I train with these guys. Their coach Sean Reineman really helped me out when we went from 5 lug nuts to 1. He's been a great asset. He's been at Penske forever. He's won like 15 pit crew challenges now. But Caitlin is the first female, I believe, to win the pit crew challenge. She's 2-time Indy 500 champion now.
That is cool.
And she used to work for Fergie. She used to help Fergie on dirt late model. She's
Chris
a racer.
Ferguson.
Yep. So it's been really cool to get to know them, and it's just so cool to watch the Indy 500 and know all those guys.
Yeah.
You see them in the shop every week. Really pumped for them, and really pumped for Caitlin and that whole team. So great job. First ever time the dogs of the week are outside of the NASCAR realm.
Yeah.
And what better week to do it than the Indy 500?
We got some dogversity.
Yeah. Yeah. Amen.
Don't matter. Anybody can get the dog.
Hey,
if you earn it,
hey, you gotta be a dog.
You gotta be a dog,
and you can get the dog of the week.
That's it.
Just go win one of the biggest races ever.
Yeah, and then you might have a shot at it.
No big deal.
No big deal. What are big deals? Are these Penny for Your Thoughts questions? We got a couple good ones this week.
Let's hear them. First one, Penny for Your Thoughts. What does it mean when you say driving off the right front versus driving off the right rear?
This question comes from Will. He came in from Phoenix this week. An old Rev Rob.
Yeah.
Friend of the show. Shout out to those fellas. They just scoped up the studio as well. They asked, what does it mean to drive off the right front versus the right rear? It's a great question. I would explain it where we've heard now Eric Amarola and SVG talk about the Xfinity cars, and then you've also heard them talk about the Cup cars because they have experience in both. The Cup car, you need to drive off the right front because the car doesn't yaw. So you are essentially driving the car to the right front slip, and then that's how much capability the car has of how much right front the ability of the right front is to turn before it shears. When you're driving off the right rear like an Xfinity car, the car has so much yaw because you're trying to pick up the side force, trying to get the blade in the air. You're driving it until the right rear is the first one to slip. So when you're driving off the right rear, your car's hung out, and your throttle application is not based off of when the right front stops turning. It's based off of when the right rear slips. So that would be the difference between driving off the right front or driving off the right rear. And it depends on the car of which one you have to drive it off of.
Yeah, I'd say most guys that like driving cars off the right front like a tighter balance. Most guys that drive off the right rear like a looser balance. Like good asphalt racers will drive off the right front. Yep. Good dirt racers will drive off the right rear. You have to.
Yep.
What do you think of the new layout of the Roval? I did not know there was a new layout of the Roval.
Did they announce this already? So I think this is probably just shaking it up a little bit. I believe we've ran the Roval for 4 or 5 years now. So I think since Marcus has the pavers across the street paving that 10/10ths club of the car club, they just, you know what, let's just cut some stuff out here and let's pave a little extra and give us something to talk about. We're also going to create a corner that's tighter than turn 11 at Sonoma.
Is it tighter than that? Wow.
Yeah. Like
it opens up
almost
more,
half. Yeah, almost half. And they also changed not only the little chute, there's, turn 1, 2, 3, 4, the little backstretch, you go straight, that little right-hander up the hill that sometimes guys bust it. That stays the same, but then instead of continuing to hang right, you go straight towards turn 1 of the big track, and then you go down to a very, very tight and slow turn 7 where there's going to be just absolute carnage. They also changed the chicane on the front stretch. They moved the right side curbing into the racing groove more to create a slower section there. I think the drivers were generally open to the little addition of the chute. The drivers were against the making that a slower section in the chicane because one of the passing zones is into turn 1 because of the opportunity to carry speed and make that a straighter shot if you hit the curbs right. Now creating a really hard braking zone and a slower spot there. I think you're going to give up a passing zone into 1 is what seems like to be the general consistent. Yeah, because you're going to be launching from a dead stop off of 17, and you're going to create a gap enough to where you're not going to be able to dive bomb somebody into 1. Where if somebody hit the curb wrong when you're trying to carry a bunch of speed through the chicane, when it's try to make it a straighter shot, you could catch somebody spinning their tires off of that.
Oh, okay.
And I don't think you're going to see that quite as much. But you will see some carnage in turn 7. I do promise you that.
Dude, if you're the NOS Extreme seats over there, whatever they are.
Oh, yeah.
That turn 7 and turn 1, that spot to sit is going to be a sick spot to watch from.
Yeah, you're going to be – I like it. I think the Roval's a cool event because it's all right there in front of you. If you're a spectator, you can watch cars all over the place. You got the big screen TV. You got a lot of action going on the racetrack. So – I don't mind a little freshening up for the Roval. Question number 3.
Question number 3 comes from Jason Price, 67. Heard Joey Logano got his CDL license this week. Have you ever had a CDL, or would you like to get one?
I've probably driven some things where I need a CDL to drive it back in my day. Big toter homes and trailers and things like that. I'm really just driving a truck, man, with 2 kids in it.
So Tom Logano, Joey's dad, has a lot of they own like a trucking company.
Yeah,
and he's got a lot of restored trucks, Peterbilts, all sorts of
old
stuff.
trash trucks and stuff.
Trash truck that's turned into a grill.
Yeah.
So Joey inevitably is going to have to drive that stuff one day. So he's like, I got to be legal.
Yeah.
So he's been going. It's actually been pretty funny talking to him about it because he's like, I might have a Billy Madison party at my house after I get my CDL, like one guy on stilts, like just have like the graduation party. But yeah, it's been funny.
That would be a cool thing to like. Sean, follow him for a CDL test. Put some GoPros in there. 2-time Cup Series champion, fail on the CDL driver test.
I think he'll be fine.
But he passed it, I believe.
I don't know if he's done it. Did he do it? Yeah.
I mean, Big Rand got a CDL, so if he can do it, I think Joey.
But there's different classes. Like I know that he did like the biggest ones you can.
It wouldn't surprise me if he took on a couple extra Amazon driver shifts, make a couple extra bucks.
He asked Brittany. He's like, he's so funny. He's like, what do you think of me now? I got my CDL.
Trucker Joe.
Yeah.
Hey. He did a good job with y'all driver broadcast, actually.
He did a great job. I hope that he drives his truck to the racetrack somewhere.
His hauler?
Yeah, his hauler. Yeah, he will. You know he will.
You think RP would let him do that?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, probably.
I think he's got some pennies stacked over there at Penske.
I think he's got some equity in there for sure.
Penny stack of the week.
Bunch of them this week. I think I would make Clay Milliken a penny stacker as well. Shout out to him. But 2 distinct ones stood out above the pack. Brad was at the Spire Fan Day. All the stuff. Talked about how much he loved the show. So he's a penny stacker, as well as Luke from Pennsylvania. Saw him on after pre-race. I was walking by. He had the hat, the shirt, the whole thing. Honorary Penny for your Stacker of the Week. Penny Stacker of the Week. Mention Cameron Marlowe doing the concert over
with a penny.
Yeah, I stopped by, met him a couple times. He is a born and bred Kannapolis native. Went to A.L. Brown High School, rival high schools. So I got to meet him a couple times. He's a cool fella. And on the way out, I had a Stacking Pennies hat in my truck, and I said, I'll see if he'll wear it. And he wore it on stage for the concert. Got a lot of people texting me about that.
And Scotty at the powder coat shop loves Cameron Marlowe. He's like, look at this hat.
Yeah,
dumb looking hat.
No, it ain't. We got some new hats coming up, by the way. Got some gray ones that are pretty cool.
Nice.
About to relaunch some merch. The merch website any day now. We got some cool stuff headed your way. We got some shout outs. Wrapping this thing up. Nick Sanchez taking the dub in the truck race. All is right in the world because awesome chase from the same place. Got the dub in the Xfinity race. Kudos. Even more of a shout out to Greg Eyes on that strategy to have a set of tires laying when anybody else didn't.
Nice. I've still got it.
He still got it. They weren't particularly good. I think they were back end of the top 10, 8 to 12th all day, and they rifled some tires on that unit and drive deuces.
Yeah.
And got her done. SVG also had a set of tires, but he got plugged in the fence by the 19. He was going to have a good day.
Dang it.
As well. Starting to figure this oval stuff out.
Yeah.
SVG is. Happy to see it.
Yeah, did you see the 21 and the 00?
Yeah, there was people just smashing into people at the end of the race. The 21, Austin Hill. I didn't see what really led up to this.
They come off a 4, and I don't know if the 00 got it. I don't know if he got in the fence.
So the 21 just picks it up.
I think the 21 was, classic overreaction, but I'm not sure what led up to it.
And the whole time the 21's pushing down the backstretch, Cole's got to stem out the window like, good job, man. Cool.
Okay, I get it.
I got it. Oh, back her in the fence.
I got to put a rear clip on this thing.
He don't have to.
No.
I think by the time this comes out, big news coming. I heard about it, some announcement at SHR, so tune into that. A lot of rumblings, a lot of murmurs going on there.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see how the dust settles. I got a lot of my fondest memories from Stuart Haas, so hope that a lot of the good people there keep being able to work.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was this weekend. It's a bummer, man, when there's ever weather with the 600 because it's such an event. Same thing with the Indy 500, but
2 Black Hawk helicopters. Did you see him pull those freaking guys?
Yeah.
I don't know where they went.
I don't know. So
2 Black Hawks flew in and threw a rope out, and I don't know what branch or division they were in. They get on there's like 10 per rope. They hover their asses up and drag them out of the racetrack.
Yeah, pretty crazy.
I don't know if they're attached. Maybe they're just hanging on. I feel like they're probably attached by something. I was like mesmerized by that.
Yeah, it was pretty impressive.
That was badass. Then the parachuters coming in, the whole thing, and that massive plane that flies over.
Yeah, and then it turns when it gets over.
C-17. Thanks, Jeff, for that.
It turns when it gets over top.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That thing is a unit.
Pre-race is electric there at Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Mm-hmm.
Well, cool. Well, this week, I don't know, St. Louis.
That was last week.
Thank
This
God
is
it's over. This is this week. Put the work in.
I'm ready to go sit by the pool and drink a couple cold beers. I don't know about you guys. But while you're sitting around listening to this show, hopefully you guys had a great Memorial Day honoring and remembering all the men and women who paid the ultimate sacrifice for our freedom. USA, we are the champs.
1776.
Yes. And that's Stacking Pennies. We're going to be a little more chipper for you next week, so it's going to be onwards and upwards from here. Have a great week. Goodbye.